We are 48 hours into season 3 of Diablo 4, and when you thought it just couldn't get any worse, it's gotten worse. Behind me, you'll see all these Reddit posts regarding the feedback from the player base on season 3, and without going into all the minutia of all these posts, it's not good. Things like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Even Woody, probably the most supportive streamer, content creator of Diablo 4, even he has less than positive feedback on season 3. It just goes on and on. And, you know, by the way, the devs claim that this would be the biggest season yet. That's demonstrably false. Why does a game made by a $74 billion company feel so cheap? I'm not mad, just disappointed. Like, it just goes on and on. It's not good, guys. It's not good. In this video, we're going to take a deep dive into what sentiment is spiraling out of control with Diablo 4 right now. And we're going to explore, and this is a big question. Is this the straw that's going to break the camel's back for the proverbial Diablo 4 franchise? It's unbelievable. I don't know how much more the player base can take when it comes to being consistently let down again and again and again. Anyway, in this video, we're going to dive into that topic. I hope you'll stick around and join me. We'll see you on the other side. Now, I did a video on my initial feedback and reaction to season 3. I had played just over 2 hours and I got to level 23, and I did a video on that to give my initial reaction. And let's just say my feedback was that the game felt underwhelming. The pet felt underwhelming. A lot of the visuals were repetitive, you know, rinse and repeat. And that kind of was the tone of my video. My video actually said, you know, if you're a player that is just looking for, you know, to kill an hour, 2 hours a night, or 5-6 hours a night, you know, you come back from work and you just want to kick back and just kill stuff and not have to worry about spreadsheets and mechanics and this and that, then, you know, season 3 would probably suit that play style. But if you're someone that looked for more in-depth and you wanted a grindy game that required some thinking, and there was itemization, there was a lot of end game variety, then season 3 would probably not be your cup of tea. Well, 24 hours later, after that video of mine, I go on social media like I do all the time, and like I said in the opening monologue, the feedback that has slowly spiraled, and gotten bigger and bigger has not been positive. And I gotta say, I'm not surprised. I don't understand how Activision Blizzard King could think that regurgitating, rinse and repeating, really no ingenuity, no creativity in Diablo 4 since the launch. It really, I don't understand how they could, what they were thinking, that without evolving any aspect of this game, how they thought the player base would just sit there and take it. I don't think they feel that we're stupid. I hope they don't, because this is, you guys know what the definition of insanity is, right? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over. And in this case, it's continuing to launch content that is not new, creative, evolving, and so doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. I have news for you, Activision Blizzard King. If you continue down this path of not being creative, of not evolving and growing Diablo 4, you're going to get the same result. And that's what you're seeing now. The unwavering negativity, it just keeps mounting and mounting. And my fear is that there's only so much punishment a person can take. There's only so much a person can take in being let down. Eventually, when someone is consistently being let down, you disengage from that relationship. You disengage, in this case, from that game. And my fear is over and over and over, season to season, month to month, Activision Blizzard King is continually eroding its fan base to the point where there's nothing is going to be left. And you know what? If that's the case, then that's the case. There's nothing that I can control or we can control. All we can do is decide whether or not we're going to play the game. And I just don't understand what they were thinking. So let's take a step back and go into the introduction to season 3, specifically the live stream, which, as I stated in another video, if you were to take what was said the most throughout that live stream, it was the fact that this was the biggest season yet. Biggest season yet. That phrase was used over and over and over and over throughout that whole live stream. Actually, if you even go into the communication via X, the biggest season yet was even used in their posts on X. Biggest season yet, biggest season. There's a lot of content, there's a lot of content, there's a lot of content. And then you deliver this turd. Sorry, but I'm keeping it real because I hate to tell everyone that's watching this video, I told you so. I've been calling this since day one, and the proof is in the pudding. I have receipts, and my receipts are my D4 videos. There's over 100 of them, and you're more than welcome if you're new and this is the first time you're seeing me on YouTube. Welcome, by the way. You can go into my D4 playlist and you can see me walking through this problem from day one. And I called it early, and that was the fact that this thread of a problem is woven throughout this whole evolution of this game. And that is the fact that this Activision Blizzard King has no roadmap. Go back to my videos and you'll see and you'll hear me say that way back when, prior to season 1. And we see it here. But, okay, they don't have a vision. They don't have a roadmap. So be it. Let's talk specifically about season 3. So they hyped it up to be the biggest season yet. So when you hype something up, then you're setting an expectation with the player base in this case. And when you deliver something like this, the lack of ingenuity, the lack of creativity, the lack of the game evolving and growing, no fun. You put okay, speaking of the mechanics, let's review the mechanics of season 3. What is season 3 about? Season 3 is mainly about two things. Okay? I'm not going to talk about class balance. They always talk about class balance. That will always be discussed in every season because it shows and it communicates to the player base that they're trying to fix the game. So I'm going to put class balance on the side because that is going to be in every season. They're always going to be fixing and trying to balance classes, okay? And it's a big one, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to put that off to the side. Season 3, prior to season 3 coming out, and now that season 3 is here, the two big, at least for me, the two big themes was the gauntlet and the companion, right? I hope we can all agree on that, okay? So let's talk about the biggest season yet. So we know that season 3 is about the gauntlet and the companion. So the gauntlet, well, talk about dropping the ball. And as usual, Activision Blizzard King taking a needle and popping the enthusiasm bubble into a new season, as they always do. They did it in season 1 with a massive nerf before season 1, totally killing the vibe of all the players walking into season 2. And now they've did the same thing with season 3 when they announced on the live stream that the gauntlet wasn't going to be launched on day 1 of season 3. It was going to come later, soon. We still don't know when the gauntlet, and their rationale is they want everyone, ideally the gauntlet is made for a level 100 character. The enemies have been programmed and designed for that level of engagement, so they wanted to give everyone the opportunity. Now we all know casuals are not going to get to level 100 if they launch it in 3-4 weeks. Okay, I'm going to tell you they're going to launch it the second month of season 3. So that's my guess, but whatever. So right off the bat, they hand us a turd by saying the gauntlet is not going to be on day 1 of season 3. Why not? Why not? It would have been so much fun to see people trying to beat the gauntlet undergeared. Like, I don't understand why you do it. And another thing, Activision Blizzard, why was there no level to 100 race? Don't you think an event like that stirs up excitement for the new season? Don't you think, even though it would have been the usual suspects, don't you think it would have been probably in your best interest from a marketing and shining a light on the season 3? Don't you think that would have been a real good idea to have a 100 race? Now, I know that's for the top 1%. And before you guys start throwing comments at me, who cares about a level 100 race? I'm talking about the overall marketing and shining a light on this game. That only helps and potentially brings new players to the game, okay? So, number one, it would have created hype. But anyway, regardless of that, the gauntlet, big L for not bringing it and dropping it on the first day of season 3. So that's the big item number 1, dropping of the ball. Big mistake in my opinion. Now let's talk about the companion, the pet. And you know what? I have my gameplay here in the background. Please let me know when you see my pet, because one of the feedbacks, and I know I felt the same way, is you don't even, when you get your pet and you get the companion fairly early in the quest line, the pet is non-existent. The companion, like when you're playing, killing things, going through the quest line, gearing up, leveling up, you don't get the sense of the companion is with you. Yeah, you may see some of the skills that you've equipped them with through the stones, but like you really, if you don't think about it, you actually forget about the companion. And for a mechanic that was communicated and marketed for this season, how can you deliver such an underwhelming mechanic? Like, you really don't feel the companion. I customized the skills and the supporting skills, and again, underwhelming. Yes, the UI, like I said in my video, is very nice, and it is. It's very nice. I found it very easy to navigate. But again, the main mechanic and introduction of a new mechanic in the season is a dud. It's a dud. I'm sorry. There's times in the game where you when you do remember, oh yeah, I got a companion. Well, like, where is he? Like, it's just crazy. The other thing where I believe they dropped the ball is, why is it so generic, the companion? Wouldn't it been creative to maybe allow the player base to earn skins for the pet, customize the look. You can't even name, we can't name our pet. We can't. There's no naming convention. It's generic. It's a spider cyclone thing, whatever the hell it is. There's no changing the way it looks. Again, another missed opportunity is the fact that you can't name it and you can't customize the look and feel. Why not put in the game different ways to earn different types of pets? So this two major mechanics in season 3, both duds, and the feedback shows it. And you know, I have to say, I did a lot of research before wanting to do this video. And of course, that involves me checking out my colleagues and other content creators. And I have to say, all of them, every single one of them is struggling to try to stay positive. Like when your positives of season 3 are things like the quest line was good, the companion doesn't die, the seasonal items don't clutter your inventory. When those are what people are highlighting as positives in a season, you know how bad a season is. Those aren't all positives. They shouldn't be highlighted as W's for a season. They should be inherent of the game. But I raised that just to only highlight the fact that everyone is struggling to come up with something positive of this season 3 for Diablo 4. And regarding the launch of season 3, why was it launched on a Tuesday? I don't think any season should launch prior to midweek. It just doesn't give the casual players, which I would argue this game is made for the most. That's the player base that this game is made for, in my opinion. Why would you launch it on a Tuesday? People work Monday to Friday. Actually, some people work on the weekends. But don't you think it would be more advantageous to launch a season on a Thursday or on a Friday? This way, given the opportunity to the majority of the player base to be able to grind the game into the weekend, and therefore inherently absorbing the season, creating hype around the season. You're giving more people the opportunity to play the new season, the new mechanics, and grind the game. By launching it on a Tuesday, you're taking away a big chunk of your player base because they work. So again, another little detail that just, when you put this all together and you step back and you just look back at everything that has evolved from day one to today when it comes to Diablo 4, there are several words that come to my mind when I think about how this game is being managed by the studio, and that is the following words come to my mind: lazy design, no creativity, no ingenuity. They are rinse and repeating the same skins when it comes to the look of the area that we're playing in. The only positive thing that I can think of out of Diablo 4 is the cinematics. The cinematics are, I have to say, Activision Blizzard King does an amazing job on the cinematics. It's crazy good. We got some killer cutscenes in this game, and history has shown that when it comes to cinematics, that Activision Blizzard King is always top notch. Jesus, the current game I'm playing now, Diablo 2 Resurrected, some of the cutscenes in that game, moons ago that game was made, are just unbelievable. So the cinematics in D4 are amazingly good. That's really the only positive light I can shine on this game to date. So, having said that, and I wanted to create this video just because this is really spiraling. And it's not just the player base anymore, it's the top content creators, like I said earlier, that are struggling to say anything good or come up with anything good. This, I think, may potentially be the straw that breaks the camel's back. This is not good. It's going to be very interesting to see how Activision Blizzard King reacts to this. Now, I haven't seen any reaction yet. I don't know if there's going to be, a lot of people are screaming for an emergency live stream or campfire chat to explain this and how they're going to fix it. How can they fix this, guys? Seriously, how can they fix it? How can they fix it? Please let me know in the comments. How can you fix this game? They have not done an iota of advancement to this game. Season 2 was a hit, I suspect. And yeah, it was a hit, actually. A lot of people had a great time in Season 2. Why did they have they had fun in the game because they sped up the leveling process. They added 5 bosses with the belief that you would be able to target farm uber uniques. And how did that go? Everybody was complaining about the drop rates of uber uniques and the amount of time you had to fight those uber bosses to get a drop. And people still to this day don't have the drops, and that you had to farm them, and you had to go back and do nightmare dungeons to farm the mats required to do the fight. This vicious, endless circle of monotony, right? Even though Season 2 was, everyone seems to think that it was a success, and it probably was. The feedback has been really good. A lot of people are saying, why can't Season 3 be like Season 2? Because, everyone had fun with Season 2. But this game is not going to be fixed. And you can go back to my 100+ videos on Diablo 4. We are not going to get past this hate stage from the player base and dislike stage until they fix the big ticket items. If you fix the big ticket items, itemization, more endgame content, then the player base will have more willingness to do the monotonous chores, okay? Because they know they're chasing something, right? Currently, I'm playing Diablo 2 Resurrected. I'm doing an Uber challenge, okay? And I am doing and farming the same areas. Well, there's 5 bosses that I can farm, just like Diablo 4. So one can throw back at me, well, you're playing D2 and you're doing the same thing over and over. I am to a certain degree, but there's a means to the end. You know what I mean? Like there's a purpose to my grinding. I'm grinding to get better gear because I'm gearing up for this huge boss fights that I'm going to have when I get to the Uber bosses in Diablo 2. So there's a purpose to my grind. So I'm willing to invest my time and grind those bosses, farm areas to hopefully get the gear and the drops that I need and the bases that I need to itemize that loot in order to fit the needs of my character so I can fight these bosses. So there's a point to why I'm doing it. That's in Diablo 2. In Diablo 4, what's the point of grinding? There's only one, and that's to get level 100. The only time I think of my character level in Diablo 2 is when I want to go and change difficulties. So in Diablo 2, you go from normal difficulty to nightmare difficulty to hell difficulty. And you think, okay, I don't want to go, I want to get to this level before I go into hell difficulty, right? You think about your character level in Diablo 2 a handful of times, if that. Okay? It doesn't even come into the equation. And yeah, I have a certain level I would like to attain prior to doing the Uber bosses in Diablo 2. But it's a side thought. It doesn't dominate my playthrough through the game. What dominates Diablo 2 and my thought process is, oh my God, is the next drop the potential epic drop that I need? I don't have that thought process in Diablo 4. You're geared up. Once you get in your 80s, you're done. Before you even hit max level, you're done. All the loot's dropping. You're not even looking at it anymore. Like and there's no variety in the end game. There's none. So to me, there's no fixing this game until they fix itemization and the variety in the end game content, because then you provide purpose in the game and people will be willing to grind and do the monotony of the game in order to know, because they know there's a purpose. So I've said this a million times. I will continue to say it. And I hope that this, I actually think, call me crazy, I actually think this is a positive. This reaction, this negativity, this, I can't take it anymore from the vast majority of the D4 player base. I think, although it hurts, although I don't like to see this, I think for the long term, this is going to do two things. It's going to cement the fact that, you know what? D4 is dead. There's no willingness to fix it. They don't want to do any ingenuity or creativity or advance the game or add what the player base is looking for. So they're just going to let it fizzle, let it die, and last as long as it can last. And you know what? Maybe internally they've already made that decision, and who knows? Maybe they've started the process and are focusing their attention on Diablo 5. I don't know. That might be a decision they've made already internally. So that's one possibility. They'll just let it die. The other possibility is, and this one, I'm hoping this is the one that it's going to be. Hopefully, this backlash, this major backlash that's happening right now with Season 3 it's the last straw that breaks the camel's back. And finally, Activision Blizzard King is finally going to do what they should have done even before launching this game. And that's creating a game that's polished, creative, has ingenuity, has a game that respects the fact that we're in 2024. God, man, there is so much AI intelligence out there that there's so many things that could be the evolution of video games moving forward from here on out because of AI is endless. There's so much they can do, that they can do quicker, faster, easier, less resources, all because of the advancements of AI. Why is that not being incorporated into this game? You don't need 9,000 people to create this. And why aren't Activision Blizzard King using that technology into making this game what it should be, a great game? But option number two, and my hope is what will happen, is they finally take this backlash and finally realize that, okay, enough's enough. We're not gonna string them along and just, little drops of content and stringing us along and telling us it's all coming. And finally, they add and put in the game what should be in the game. And that's a solid, fun, ingenuity in the game, creativity, putting itemization in the game, putting more variety, and fun end game content in the game. My hope is that this is what comes out of this. This is why I say hopefully this is a positive. It's a good thing, because sometimes in order, and this applies in real life too, sometimes you got to hit rock bottom in order to understand the degree and the verity of the issue. Maybe that's a poor choice of words, but like the degree of problems that are here. And I think maybe me being that glass is half full kind of guy, maybe this is the final blow that makes them realize their approach is not working and they need to take a different approach. At least that's my hope. Anyway, let me know what you think. Do you guys, first of all, what are your thoughts on season 3? I've already heard them in my previous video, but if you want to let me know about season 3, go ahead. But what I'm more interested about is, what do you think this wave of negativity and lashing out from the player base towards the game, do you think this is going to serve a good purpose, or will it mean the demise of D4? I would love to hear your comments on that. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. And if you can like, comment, and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. And as always, we'll hope to see you next time. Take care. The opinions expressed in this video are mine and solely mine. Healthy debate is always encouraged. Hate is never welcomed. So get over it.